Before we start the show, let's hear from one of our sponsors. Their support keeps this show free for you. Hey there, Peace and Parenting family. If you love the podcast but wish to enjoy it without interruptions, your wish has come true. Introducing the ad-free version of the Peace and Parenting podcast, available exclusively on Apple Podcast. As a subscriber, you'll get all the heartfelt advice, parenting stories, and actionable tips you love without any ads. For less than the cost of a coffee each month, you will enjoy uninterrupted listening while also supporting our work to help you build stronger connections with your kids. Try it out for free. Simply find Peace and Parenting on Apple Podcasts, click Try Free, and you'll gain immediate access to our ad-free episodes. There's no commitment and you can cancel anytime. So if you're ready for a more peaceful, uninterrupted listening experience, subscribe now. Let's keep focusing on connection without the distractions. Hi, I'm Michelle, a mother of 2 teens. 13 years ago, I traded in punishments and rewards for connection. Now I prioritize relationship over behaviors, utilize play as a parenting tool, and set limits with empathy instead of consequences. Each week, I share my journey and interview clients, experts, and followers. Thanks for joining me on the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'm Michelle, and I'm glad you joined me today. I really want to talk about this idea of connected parenting and how it truly is for all kids. And a lot of people will say, well, that connected parenting, that might work for you and your kids and your family, but it's just not for us. And there isn't just one way to parent. There are many ways to parent, and I choose not to parent with connection. Now, let's just tease that out a little bit. Sure, there are many ways to parent, and there isn't just one way to parent. But connective parenting isn't just a guideline of these certain things you do and you don't do anything else. Connective parenting is giving you this idea that the relationship is the most important thing. And so whatever you do in your parenting, you just keep the relationship as your guide. Sure, we denounce the idea of punishments and rewards, and we denounce the idea of shame and belittlement and consequences. And when you think about those things, what child benefits from a punishment, a consequence, shame, belittlement, or any of those kind of negative parenting tools? What child would benefit from those? A child with ODD, they would benefit from shame, ridicule. They would benefit from a rewards chart? I don't think so. I really don't. Most kids, I'd say 100% of all kids, do not benefit from a rewards chart. They also don't benefit from a punishment or a timeout or yelling. No child benefits from those things. And every child, kids with ADD, ADHD, PANS, kids with eating disorders, neurodivergent kids, kids that are strong-willed, kids that are more agreeable, kids who present with anxiety, kids who present with depression, kids who are self-harming. All of these kids will do better when they are living in a relationship full of connection. Why? Because who doesn't? I want to live in connected relationships. When I think about my partners and my friends and the people in my life, I want them to treat me with kindness, unconditional love, and dignity. I don't want them to shame me or to belittle me or to punish me when I've done something wrong. I want to live in a connected relationship, and so do our children. Moreover, the idea of connection promotes the full use of our brains, the full use of our child's brain. So if our child feels connected to us, then their prefrontal cortex stays engaged more often. If they're encountering punishments or threats or rewards even, because rewards can be considered a punishment, because when you don't receive the reward, then you feel punished, especially for a strong-willed child or an ODD child. They really fight against this idea of control. And so if they feel like they're being controlled through the reward, it will put them into fight, flight, or freeze. And when they're in that space or when they're in alert, it means no blood flow is happening in their prefrontal cortex, meaning the prefrontal cortex just turns off. so they can't think well. So if a child is at school and they're in a school or at school setting where there's a reward system and they're worried about getting the reward system and it puts them into this place of alert, it means that their prefrontal cortex isn't really working well. So how can they think? How can they also learn? So if they're in an environment like this in school, how can they learn the material that's being presented to them if their brain isn't fully functioning? So many people will say, well, you need a behavior modification plan for a child who has ADD, or you need a behavior modification plan for a child who has ODD, or a neurodivergent child, or a child who has PANS. I don't believe this is true. I believe the behavior modification plans often cause more problems than they do good because they use this idea of control and manipulation, and many temperament types do not succumb to it. And the ones that don't succumb to it, they become bigger and more upset and more angry because they feel manipulated. We are going to take a short break from our show to hear from our sponsors. Without their sponsorship, I wouldn't be able to bring you the Peace in Parenting podcast free of charge. So I'll see you back in just a few minutes. My sweet Esme has eczema and super sensitive skin, and it's not easy finding products that actually work for tough stains, but are also not irritating to the skin. That's why I switched to Blueland. Their products are made to meet the highest environmental standards. Their products are not just clean, they're mom clean. Blueland products are 100% plastic-free and made with certified clean ingredients that are safe to use around family, pets, and plants in the house. You don't have to choose between the safe option and what really gets your house clean. Blueland products are independently tested to perform alongside major brands and are free from dyes, bleach, and harsh chemicals. And Blueland is trusted in over 1 million homes, including mine. I love the dishwasher tablets. They leave my dishes really clean, and I don't even need to use rinse aid. Blueland has a special offer for listeners. Right now, get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/peace. You won't want to miss this. blueland.com/peace for 15% off. That's blueland.com/peace. Are you a mom who feels like you're juggling it all, but something just feels off? It could also be your hormones causing this chaos. Hormone Harmony contains science-backed herbal extracts called adaptogens. Now, here's the beauty of adaptogens. They help the body adapt to any stressors like chaotic hormonal changes that happen naturally throughout a woman's life. That's why Hormone Harmony is perfect for women of all ages who are struggling with life-disrupting symptoms such as PMS, like irritability, moodiness, discomfort, or uncontrollable cravings, and menopause with symptoms like hot flashes and night sweats. The results are impressive. There are over 40,000 reviews on their website. Women cannot stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. So for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code PEACE. Check out happymammoth.com. Use the code PEACE for 15% off today. Let's dive back in. So behavior modification plans, I don't think, believe it or not, work for any child. And I would so much as say that connection and connective parenting works for every kid. Now, is it going to fix ADHD? No. Is it going to fix the idea of, ODD? Or is it going to absolutely fix anxiety? No, but it will completely help it. I've seen ADHD kids do so much better in connected families. Do they still need extra scaffolding? Do their brains process material and information differently? Absolutely. But connected parenting doesn't hurt them because it sets them up to use their brain well. It also sets them up to trust their caretaker. And when they can trust their caretaker and their brain works better, they sit and relax more. They sit in a sense of feeling as if they're in control of their body and their mind because their shoulders can come down. They can rest in our relationship. They can feel as if we're this warm space for them to be, as opposed to being like, am I going to get the points? Am I not going to get the points? If I don't get the points, then my parents are going to be upset with me. Well, if I don't do this, I'm going to be punished. Living like that for any child isn't good. Now, some people will say, well, my kid does really well with rewards and punishments, and maybe they're a more agreeable child. But is that pushing them into this idea of people pleasing? Is it pushing them into this idea of ignoring how they feel and really making the other people around them feel good because that's easier than not getting the points, or it's easier than quote unquote getting in trouble? So I get a lot of pushback on Instagram, especially like, well, this is the only way to parent. There's a lot of different ways to parent, and your way isn't the only way, and connection isn't the only way. I guess I believe that there are other ways to parent, sure. But I'm not so sure that they're better ways. I'm not so sure that they're more functioning ways. And I haven't seen anything else that gives the results that connected parenting does. And I haven't seen anything else that makes parents feel calmer and better than connected parenting. So if there is another way that is really steeped in this idea of fostering relationship and is nurturing, and it's not the gentle, connective, peaceful parenting, conscious parenting. If there is another way out there, then I'd love someone to present it to me. I would love to see what it does for kids. And if this idea of behavior modification and behaviorism really does produce long-term amazing effects for parents and kids, I'd like to see that too, because in my world and in my work, I don't see that often. I see that the idea of behavior modification, rewards and punishments really push kids to be people they are not and force them into behavior as opposed to allowing them to come to the behavior on their own. Okay, so in all of this, I guess I can say, I know for sure that connected parenting speaks to all children and it speaks to all families. Is it a panacea? Is it going to fix 100% of all of your behaviors in your house? And is it going to make a strong-willed kid not be strong-willed anymore? Is it going to make the agreeable kid be more outspoken? No, but it will temper some of those deeper attributes that might be exacerbated by punishments and rewards. So whereas you have the strong-willed child that presents strong-willed, they're still going to have that strong will, but will you also see them calm down some? Will you also see them begin to be more agreeable? Will you also see their tantrums temper some? Will you see the tantrums be shorter? And will you see that there to be fewer tantrums and fewer pushback and more cooperation from a strong-willed kid? Absolutely. And will you see a more agreeable kid have their opinion, be able to make mistakes and not float into perfectionism? Absolutely, because they feel that they're safe to do so and nobody's going to judge them and they don't have to fix the situation. Okay, I hope that gives some clarity around this idea of why connected parenting is for all children and how it can be beneficial in all families and all homes. Thank you for joining me on the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for all of the new subscriptions in iTunes and Spotify and everywhere you listen. And thank you so much for all the ratings and reviews. I deeply appreciate it. And I hope to see you next time.